You've been stuck. Not because of bad luck. Not because of your circumstances. Not because the economy is tough or the timing isn't right. You've been stuck because of you. And somewhere deep inside, you already know that, don't you? Think about the last time you promised yourself things would be different. Maybe it was a new goal, a business idea you kept pushing back, a relationship pattern you swore you'd break, a health commitment that lasted 3 weeks. You had the plan. You had the intention. You had the desire. And then, nothing. Or worse, you started, and then you found a way to quietly destroy it. What if I told you that wasn't weakness? What if the thing standing between you and the life you actually want is something your own mind built, to protect you? There is a book that explains this better than anything you have ever read. It's called TheMountainIsYou by Brianna Wiest. And by the time this video is over, you will understand why you've been your own biggest obstacle, and more importantly, exactly what to do about it. But first, we need to talk about something that most personal development content gets completely wrong. Something that actually makes self-sabotage worse. Stay with me. Section 1, the hidden problem most people face. Here's a question almost nobody asks: why would a smart, capable, driven person keep sabotaging themselves? If you search the internet for how to stop self-sabotage, you'll find thousands of articles. They'll tell you to build better habits, create accountability, set smart goals, visualize success, or practice discipline. All good advice. But all completely missing the main point. Because they're treating the symptom, not the cause. Let me tell you about a woman I'll call Sarah. Not her real name, but her story is real. Sarah is a 34-year-old marketing director at a mid-sized firm. She's sharp, well-read, well-spoken. Her team respects her. Her boss consistently puts her on the shortlist for vice president. And every single time the promotion comes up, Sarah finds a way to blow it. One year, she picked a fight with her boss 2 weeks before the review. Another year, she let a key project fall apart because she forgot to follow up with her team. This past year, she turned down the role entirely, and told herself it was because the timing wasn't right. Her friends think she's crazy. She thinks she's unlucky. But the truth? Sarah is terrified of becoming the person she says she wants to be. Self-sabotage is not self-destruction. It is self-protection. Your brain is trying to keep you safe from something it perceives as dangerous, even if that danger is just growth, change, or visibility. This is the hidden problem most people never address. Because it doesn't feel like fear. It feels like procrastination. It feels like perfectionism. It feels like distraction, or exhaustion, or just bad timing. It disguises itself beautifully. And here's what makes it worse: the smarter and more self-aware you are, the better you are at rationalizing why the sabotage makes perfect sense. Sound familiar? Brianna Wiest writes about this with a clarity that almost feels uncomfortable. Because she's not writing about broken people. She's writing about high-functioning people who have become incredibly skilled at managing a wound they've never actually treated. And that wound, whatever form it takes for you, is the mountain. Section 2, the author's big discovery. Brianna Wiest is not your typical self-help author. She's a writer and researcher who approaches psychology the way a detective approaches a crime scene, with patience, precision, and a willingness to go where the evidence leads, even when it's uncomfortable. Her core discovery can be summed up in one line. The mountain in your way is you, but that mountain was built for a reason. Most books tell you to overcome your obstacles. Wiest does something far more sophisticated. She says, before you try to overcome anything, you need to understand why it was built. Your self-sabotaging behaviors, the avoidance, the procrastination, the perfectionism, the emotional outbursts, the relationships you keep choosing, none of them are random. They are intelligent responses to pain. They were adaptive. They helped you survive something. The problem is, what helped you survive at 12, 15, or 22 years old is now the cage keeping you from thriving at 35, 40, or 50. Think about a child who grew up in a home where achieving things led to increased pressure, more expectations, or even jealousy and punishment. That child learns, unconsciously, success is dangerous. Being seen is dangerous. Standing out is dangerous. That child grows into an adult who cannot understand why they keep undermining themselves every time they get close to something great. They don't need more discipline. They need to dismantle the belief. Wiest's framework is built on a foundation of emotional intelligence, the idea that healing your relationship with yourself is not a soft, optional extra. It is the primary work. Without it, all the productivity systems, all the morning routines, all the goal-setting workshops in the world will eventually be undone. She also introduces a concept that reshapes how you see your own identity. You cannot sustainably build a life that conflicts with who you believe yourself to be at your core. Which means, if part of you believes you're not worthy of great success, your unconscious will keep finding ways to confirm that belief. Not because it's cruel, but because that's what minds do. They create evidence for what they already believe. The most powerful work you will ever do is not external. It is rebuilding the internal story you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. Section 3, The 7 Most Important Lessons. Now let's get into the substance, the 7 lessons that professionals, leaders, and high-performers need to hear most from this book. Lesson 1, Self-sabotage is a coping mechanism, not a character flaw. The first and most liberating insight Wiest offers is this: you are not broken, you are coping. The behaviors that look like self-destruction from the outside are actually attempts, however misguided, to manage internal discomfort. The person who overeats is not weak-willed. They are soothing themselves from anxiety they haven't learned to process another way. The executive who ghosts opportunities is not lazy. They are protecting themselves from the vulnerability that visibility brings. This is not an excuse to stay stuck, it is a map. Because once you understand the function of a behavior, what emotional need it's meeting, you can begin to meet that need in a way that doesn't cost you your future. Lesson 2, your triggers are your teachers. When something makes you irrationally angry, defensive, or deeply uncomfortable, that's not weakness. That's data. Wiest calls these emotional triggers breadcrumbs. Each overreaction, each area of chronic avoidance, each relationship pattern that keeps repeating itself, these are not random. They are pointing directly at the unresolved wound. The professional who can't take criticism without shutting down completely, what is that protecting? The leader who micromanages because delegation feels unsafe, where did that come from? Following your triggers inward, honestly and without judgment, is the most accurate self-diagnostic tool that exists. Lesson 3, you must grieve the life you expected before you can build the life you want. This is perhaps the most underappreciated idea in the entire book, and it is gold for high performers. Many of us are carrying an invisible grief, for the version of our life we thought we'd have by now. The career milestone we haven't reached, the relationship we imagined, the version of ourselves we were supposed to become. And as long as we're unconsciously grieving that unlived life, we'll keep resisting the actual life in front of us. Wiest argues, you must consciously mourn what didn't happen, in order to fully show up for what still can. This is not pessimism. This is how you release the handbrake. Lesson 4, most people are addicted to their own suffering. This one is hard to hear. But stay with it. Our problems are familiar. And familiar, even when painful, feels safe. There is a kind of identity built around struggle. I'm the person who works hard but never catches a break. I'm the person who always attracts the wrong partners. I'm the one who can never quite get to the next level. These stories become our identity. And the moment we start to outgrow them, a part of us panics, because, who am I without my struggle? The path forward requires you to be willing to release the identity that suffering built for you. And that is uncomfortable in a way that no one warns you about. Lesson 5. Emotional maturity is the real competitive advantage. In business circles, we talk endlessly about IQ, skills, strategy, networks. Wiest makes a compelling case that emotional maturity, your ability to tolerate discomfort, regulate your responses, and remain functional under pressure, is the real differentiator at the highest levels. Two equally talented executives face a major setback. One spirals. One adapts and rebuilds. The difference isn't intelligence or experience. It's emotional architecture. Building that architecture, learning to feel your feelings without being controlled by them, is not therapy speak. It is a professional edge. Lesson 6. Healing is not linear, and comparison is lethal. One of the cruelest things the social media age has done is make our private healing process public and competitive. We see someone else's highlight reel and conclude that our nonlinear journey means we're failing. Wiest is emphatic: healing is not a straight line. You will regress. You will have weeks where you feel like you've lost all the ground you gained. That is not failure, that is the process. The professional who accepts the nonlinearity of personal growth is far more resilient than the one who expects constant upward momentum. Because when the regression comes, and it will, they're not derailed. They just stay on the path. Lesson 7. You don't need to be fixed, you need to be met. The final lesson is the most profound. Most personal development culture operates on the implicit belief that you are broken and need to be fixed. Wiest rejects this entirely. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be met, to be seen, understood, and accepted by yourself, fully, including the parts you've been hiding and running from. The moment you stop fighting yourself, the moment you can sit with your own story without shame or judgment, is the moment your energy becomes available for building, rather than defending. Section 4. Real-life examples that hit differently. Let's make this concrete. Because theory without application is just entertainment. The executive who couldn't delegate. Marcus is a VP at a technology company. Brilliant strategist. Terrible at delegation. He reviews every document before it goes out. Attends meetings his direct reports should run alone. Stays late fixing things his team was perfectly capable of handling. His feedback? Trust issues. His coach said it. His wife said it. He half believed it. But when Marcus did the deeper work, he realized it wasn't about trust in others. It was about trust in himself. Specifically, a childhood pattern where being responsible for everything was the only way to feel safe. If he controlled everything, nothing could go wrong. If nothing went wrong, he wouldn't be abandoned or shamed. His micromanagement wasn't arrogance. It was a 10-year-old survival strategy running his Fortune 500 meetings. Once Marcus understood that, he didn't just try harder to delegate. He worked on the underlying belief that safety required control. And slowly, not overnight, he began to let go. The entrepreneur who kept almost making it. Priya had started 3 businesses. All of them showed real promise. All of them collapsed at the same point, just before they became truly successful. She called it bad luck. Her mentors called it execution problems. One looked closer and asked a harder question: what does success mean to your family? Priya went quiet. Then she told a story she'd never told before. Growing up, money and success in her family were associated with conflict, with parents who worked constantly and were never present, with a brother who became wealthy and alienated the entire family. Unconsciously, Priya had internalized, success destroys families. And at the exact moment her businesses were about to produce the kind of success her unconscious mind considered dangerous, she found a way to pull the plug. This is the mountain. Hidden. Reasonable sounding from the outside. Completely running the show from the inside. The professional who couldn't receive praise. James was exceptional at his job, universally respected, consistently promoted. But every time he received a compliment, he deflected it immediately. "Oh, the team did it. I just got lucky." It's not that impressive, really. He thought he was being humble. He was actually refusing to update his identity. Because if James let himself fully receive the recognition, if he fully acknowledged that he was excellent, he would have to confront the dissonance with the story he'd built about himself, that he was the kid who was never quite good enough. Deflecting praise was self-protection. It kept the old story safe. And it also, quietly, kept him from fully owning his own excellence. Section 5. How these lessons change a person's life. So what actually changes when you do this work? When you stop managing the mountain and start actually climbing it? The first shift is in your relationships. When you stop projecting your unresolved pain onto other people, your relationships become clearer. You stop attracting partners and colleagues who mirror your wounds, not because the universe suddenly sends you different people, but because you stop unconsciously selecting them. The second shift is in your performance. When your energy is no longer consumed by internal conflict, by the constant low-grade war between the person you are and the person you're trying to be, you have more of yourself available for actual work. Creativity flows more easily. Decisions are clearer. You stop overthinking because you trust yourself more. The third shift is in your relationship with failure. When you understand that setbacks are information rather than verdicts, that a bad quarter, a failed launch, a rejected proposal is not confirmation that you don't belong at this level, you recover faster, adapt more intelligently, and take smarter risks. And the fourth, perhaps the most quietly powerful shift, you become someone other people want to follow. Because people don't follow performance alone. They follow presence. They follow the person who walks into the room and is fully there, not half managing their own anxiety, not performing confidence they don't feel, not subtly undermining the room because their own insecurities are running unchecked. Real leadership, at its root, requires exactly what this book develops, the capacity to be fully yourself, with full accountability, without the distortions that unresolved pain creates. Section 6. Your Practical Action Plan. This is where I give you something you can actually use starting today. Not vague advice. Concrete steps. Step 1. Do a pattern audit. Take 20 minutes. Write down every area of your life where you have consistently, repeatedly not followed through, or where the same problem keeps showing up. Don't explain it or justify it yet. Just list it. Look for the pattern. What is the common thread? Patterns don't lie. They are the mountain's fingerprints. Step 2. Ask, what does this behavior protect me from? For each pattern you identified, ask, if I removed this behavior, if I actually followed through, actually succeeded, actually let this relationship be good, what would I have to feel? What would I have to risk? The answer to that question is the real work. Not the behavior itself. Step 3. Practice discomfort tolerance, incrementally. You don't dismantle a mountain in a day. You take one stone at a time. Find the smallest version of the thing you've been avoiding and do it. Not perfectly. Just once. Then again. Your nervous system needs evidence that the thing you fear will not destroy you. Give it that evidence deliberately, consistently, and patiently. Step 4. Rebuild your identity deliberately. Start using language that reflects the person you are becoming, not just the person you are trying to become. Not, I'm trying to be a better leader. But, I am the kind of leader who gives their team space to grow. Wiest is clear, you will keep recreating your current life as long as you keep identifying with your current story. Changing the story is not denial. It is the architecture of transformation. Step 5. Get honest support. This work is done in relationship, not in isolation. A coach, a therapist, a mastermind group, a trusted mentor. The quality of support around you directly affects the speed and depth of your transformation. Do not attempt to climb this mountain alone when help is available. Section 7. Conclusion. I want to leave you with this. The mountain is real. The obstacles in your path are real. But here is the truth that this book wants you to carry: you are not a victim of your mountain. You built it. And because you built it, you can also dismantle it. That's not a curse. That's the most empowering thing you will ever understand about yourself. Every pattern you have, every limitation you experience, every ceiling you keep bumping up against, it was constructed by a version of you that was doing their best to survive something. Honor that version. Have compassion for them. And then, with that same intelligence and that same creativity that built the mountain in the first place, begin building something different. Not a life without challenges. But a life where the challenges are real, external ones, not the ones you keep manufacturing to stay safe. The most successful people in the world are not the ones without wounds. They are the ones who did the work of understanding their wounds, and refused to let those wounds run their lives. You have that capacity. You've always had it. The only question is, are you finally ready to use it? If this video moved you, if something in here hit somewhere real, share it with one person who needs it. Not as a comment. Not as a like. As a message to someone you care about. Because the most powerful thing a high performer can do is help another high performer see what they can't yet see in themselves. That's what Mindset Library is here for. I'll see you in the next one.